Hey Woodhaven family, and welcome back to the Journey 24/7 podcast. This is Chandler here with you again, and we are going to be diving into Genesis chapter 29 today. Now, if you remember yesterday, we finished up in chapter 28 where we saw that Jacob was being sent to Laban to find a wife, and then he also had a dream on the way there where he had God promise him about his offspring, the same promise we saw to Abraham and to Isaac, that his offspring would be like the sands, or as we saw in other times and other promises, like the stars of the sky. They'd be great, and they would bless all of humanity. Again, this was because this was the lineage, the offspring that Christ was going to come from. But then we pick up here in chapter 29, and Jacob has arrived. And one of the very first people he sees and meets is Laban's daughter, Rachel. And immediately she just catches his eye. Jacob shares with Rachel who he is, and she runs and tells her father. So Jacob shows up to Laban, and he tells him he's there to serve. And Laban says, "Because you are my kinsman, should you therefore serve me for nothing? Tell me what your wages shall be." And this is where we get the detail that Laban had two daughters. There was Leah and there was Rachel. It says that Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was beautiful in form and appearance. Then it even goes as far to say Jacob loved Rachel. So he says to Laban, "I will serve you 7 years for your younger daughter Rachel." And Laban agrees. And so Jacob served Laban for 7 years. And it says here, just to show how much he loved her, it says, "And they seemed to him but a few days because of the love he had for her." Jacob had a real, genuine love for Rachel. It was a sacrificial love for Rachel. He was willing to serve for 7 years, and it didn't even feel like 7 years because he loved her that much. So Jacob goes, and he goes to Laban and says, "Give me my wife, that I may go into her, for my time is completed." So Laban gathers together all the people, and they make a feast. But in the evening, Laban tricks Jacob and actually sends Leah in to be his wife. Now you got to remember that it was completely pitch black. It was at night, and this was a world where there wasn't electricity. And there's also a very real chance that Leah was veiled because she was the bride. And so Jacob does not realize that it's not Rachel and instead it's Leah, and he takes her as his wife. Well, in the morning, he wakes up and realizes what has happened. And it says, Jacob said, "What is this you have done to me? Did I not serve you for Rachel? Why then have you deceived me?" And we have to pause there because we have to recognize a little bit of irony. Jacob, someone that deceived his father to get his blessing, is now upset that his now father-in-law has deceived him. There's the irony there. Laban informs Jacob that it is not done in their country where the younger one is given in marriage before the older one. And so he says, "Complete the week of this one, this wedding week here, and we will give you the other also in return for serving me another 7 years." And we see that Jacob did so and completed her week. Then Laban gave him his daughter Rachel to be his wife. So we see Jacob takes Rachel as his wife, and it says that he loved Rachel more than Leah and served Laban for another 7 years. So Laban's going to get another 7 years of service here out of Jacob. But we also see that detail that Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah. So we move down in this chapter. It says, "When the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Reuben." Now, in the rest of this passage, we see that Leah conceives a total of 4 sons before Rachel has a single child. And what we're seeing here is a pretty common theme we see throughout Scripture. And that's the Lord looking out for what we view as either the underdog or the outcast. Not the person that you would think would be chosen from an earthly perspective, from a worldly perspective. We see this all throughout Scripture. We see this with King David. He was just a shepherd boy before becoming king. We see this with Paul. He was someone that was killing Christians before then becoming a huge Christian missionary after the Lord encountered him. We see it all throughout. We see it with Jesus reaching the tax collectors, with Jesus reaching the woman at the well. It's all over Scripture that we see the Lord reach out and comfort or protect or highlight the person that the world would turn their back on. And that's what we're seeing here. Jacob clearly loved his wife Rachel more than his wife Leah. And again, remember that's descriptive, not prescriptive. It's just describing the way the situation happened, not saying this is how it should have happened. But he did have both of them as wives, and he clearly loved Rachel more. And so the Lord shows some honor to Leah by giving her children first. He gave her honor when her husband did not. The Lord is good. He is gracious. He is kind. And he's always there for us. That's going to wrap up our study for today. Come back with us tomorrow as we wrap up our week in Genesis chapter 30. Hope you all have a great rest of your day.